Hey everyone, it's Kitti Minx again. Sorry, this is not a role play. It's kind of hard for me to focus right now. I'm still feeling pretty sicky poo. I've been battling a lot of nausea and stomach pain and intestinal pain. It's been hard for me to eat and just all kinds of uncomfortableness. So that makes it really hard for me to focus. Really hard for me to just sit down and record and do my voices and all that jazz. So, yeah, I'm sorry this is not a role play. This is just going to be a mishmash of things. Real quick, I just want to say thank you to everyone for your reception to my last couple of vlogs / story times where I talk about some heavy issues. It really means a lot to me to know that y'all out there care about me as a person beyond just a content creator. And you care about me and what I've been through and what I'm currently dealing with. Some quick updates. There's some good news. Thanks to the generosity and kindness of many of you, I've been doing a pretty good job of raising the money I need towards my hospital bill. I still haven't quite reached my goal yet. I'm a little over halfway there, which is good. I mean, I'm able to put a pretty decent down payment on it so they won't necessarily nag me as much. But there's still a ways to go. And if you're curious as to how you can help, first thing you can do is I have commission slots open for ASMR role plays. I have 4 slots left. You could find information as to how to order a custom commission on my website, kittyminxasmr.com. I have a whole page about it, as well as how you can pay for it because I cannot take PayPal. So you can get a commission. You can pledge to my Patreon. And on my Patreon you get all kinds of things. You get live streams, podcasts, bonus role plays, including lewd and not safe for work ones, artwork, including lewd and not safe for work artwork, and a bunch of other things. And starting at the $50 tier, you get custom stuff just for you, like sketches and custom role plays and all kinds of fun stuff. So you can pledge me on Patreon. You can donate to me directly via either 2 websites, Ko-fi, ko-fi.com, or buymeacoffee.com. Links to both are in the description. Again, I don't have PayPal because of a myriad of reasons, so I only take Stripe, which basically means you can only pay with a card, like a credit or debit card. So if you don't have one, sorry, but that's the only way I can take donations via those websites. Another way you can help is buy my merchandise. There's links to doing so on kittyminxasmr.com. You can buy all kinds of stuff. T-shirts, posters, pillows, sweatshirts, all kinds of fun stuff. And if you don't have any money and you just want to help on your social media, like your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Tumblr, your whatever, you can promote my YouTube channel. You can promote my website. You can promote links to my donation pages. You can do all that. So those are the ways that you can help if you want to. Not telling you to, but if you feel like being generous, those are the ways you can help. Because again, I am still feeling sick. It's making it very difficult for me to work. I was supposed to go back and work my other job this month, and I had to cancel, which also meant canceling appointments, which really sucks to do, but I have to because I'm just not feeling well, and my doctor doesn't feel like I am in a good condition to travel. So I had to cancel. Because I'm just really not feeling well. On top of feeling nauseous with the stomach pains and whatnot, I've been very tired and fatigued, doing a lot of sleeping a lot, not just at night, but during the day I take a lot of naps. Sometimes very, very long naps where I dang well near sleep the whole day away. And I have coughing spells where sometimes what comes up has, it's going to sound gross, but what comes up has blood in it. So I'm not doing too great, and I've had fevers, and it's been not good. So I am still sick, taking medicine, trying to get better. But it's going to be a long road because I have multiple ulcers, not just in my stomach, but in my intestines and my esophagus. So, and if you don't know what causes ulcers, the myth is that they're caused by stress. That's a myth. They're actually caused by a specific type of bacteria that anyone can get. So, and then of course stress can exacerbate them, especially the pain, but stress doesn't cause them. So at some point I got the bacteria, and apparently it was a pretty nasty case of it because it made multiple ones of them. But yeah, so dealing with that, taking antibiotics, taking antacids, drinking a lot of fluids, doing what the doctor tells me to do. So that's what I can do. Unfortunately, I am out of the prescription painkillers, and for some reason the doctor won't refill the prescription. And it's not like what I was prescribed was like a heavy duty narcotic. It wasn't Percocet, it wasn't Oxycontin, it wasn't Vicodin or anything like that. It was freaking Tylenol with codeine, which is like the baby aspirin of prescription painkillers. And just like, nope, not gonna prescribe any more of that, even though I took it very sparingly. I only took it when I was in severe pain. That it was supposed to be like a 2.5 week supply, lasted me a month. So it's not like I was just like downing it. I'm like, oh doctor, I need more. No. But it's just like, nope, not prescribed anymore. So I've just been taking like Advil and stuff like that, which hasn't really done a whole lot to help the pain. So it's part of why I haven't really been able to do much, because I am constantly in pain. It's a wonder I'm able to actually sleep. I guess my body is just so tired from trying to fight this that it's just like, yeah, no, we're gonna ignore the pain and pass out. It's pretty weird. But anyway, back on the topic of merchandise, there is new Halloween merch with art, as always, by my artist, Anna Maria Bryant. As always, there is a link to her website and portfolio in the description of my videos, where you can check out her stuff and even commission her. Her commissions are open. She is currently getting ready for a cross-country move, so she could definitely use the money. She's taking sketch commissions for, I believe it's $25 sketches. And these are digital sketches done with some color, so it's not just, a quick little pencil sketch. It's, these are very lovely looking sketches, definitely worth the money. And of course, if you want a more detailed piece, it's not a sketch, like a colored bust or a full body piece or something with a background or whatever, it's gonna cost more. But she lists her prices on her website, and she'll talk to you about it based on what you want via email. So definitely check out her work, and if you have the money and want to support her, consider commissioning her. She is very nice, easy to work with, very talented. Anyway, the merchandise for this month features Ruby and Jade, and you should see right now on the screen what the design looks like. It's Ruby and Jade in their Halloween costumes, with Ruby and Jade as cute little witch and nun respectively, and they're happy to trick or treat with you. You can get this design on posters, t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, phone cases, stickers, whole bunch of stuff. And you can get these designs either via my Teespring or Redbubble. And you can access either or via the links on kittyminxasmr.com. So definitely check it out. And if you like the design and want to support me, want to support Anna Maria Bryant, want to support this channel, definitely consider ordering yourself a little something to get into the Halloween spirit. And now for what the title of this video is about. And as a warning, if you're very sensitive to ghost stories and spiritual activity, or you don't believe in it, I think it's a bunch of phooey, then just click away. Not for you. So whether you're sensitive to this, or even just the mention of ghosty stuff bothers you, gives you anxiety, frightens you, whatever, or you just don't believe in it at all and think it's ludicrous and it's not your thing, just click away. Thank you for watching / listening so far, and I'll catch you later, especially when I'm feeling better. So anyway, bit of a setup to this is where I work when I travel to Reno. It's called the Mustang Ranch. It is a combination of several things. When it was first built many years ago, it was strictly a brothel. It was a small building with rooms in it, full of women, where customers specifically met at the time, because only men were permitted to visit brothels. Would go in, grab a lady, pay her money, and do stuff. But it has since evolved from that, especially after being purchased by the current owner in the mid-2000s. First and foremost, the original building was relocated and expanded, and a second building was built, plus several other smaller buildings that are basically specialty suites and also offices for the top tier management staff, as well as a residence for a couple members of staff that actually live on the facility property and are there 24/7 to monitor things. So it's become a pretty big property. Now there's nothing overly special about the newer buildings. They were built in the mid-2000s. Nothing really of import has happened in them. But the property, since the new ownership is more than just a brothel, it also doubles as a exotic club where there's, skimpily clad and nude dancing. There's a bar, a full bar. There's a restaurant. There's a truck stop. Bunch of stuff. So it's still strictly adult 18 plus entertainment, but it's more than just what it once was many years ago. It's evolved. No, like I said, there's really nothing special about the newer buildings. They're newer, so nothing really exciting over the years has happened in them, aside from what's supposed to happen in them that's exciting, if you know what I mean. From my experience, the only thing is just that the walls are paper thin, so depending on where you are, you can hear things, whether it's your neighbor doing stuff, or if you're near the laundry room or the kitchen, you can hear the laundry sounds or the kitchen sounds, or if you're near the maintenance area, you can hear the maintenance people doing stuff, or if you're near certain sides of the building, you can hear the constant trucks coming and going. It just depends on where you are in the building. The walls are paper thin, so you can hear things, and it's a little bit annoying, especially when you're trying to sleep. So yeah, that's just really my only beef per se with the newer building. I will say though that the newer building is actually where we primarily work out of. Years ago, both the old building and the new building operated simultaneously for all purposes, pretty much. But in recent years, they put everyone in the new building and had that operate as the primary business. So generally it's not very exciting. It's pretty typical. Just go there, do the do, work the work, put up with people, yada yada. However, the older building is still used for stuff. It was actually recently renovated in the hopes that both buildings would operate simultaneously again, which they briefly did for a couple of months, and then for some reason management was like, yeah, no, we're just gonna go back to using just the new building. Doesn't make much sense. But the old building is still used for stuff. There are specialty suites in the old building that can be used for parties. So often jobs will be done in those suites. A couple of the wings are rented out as essentially hotel rooms for guests, especially guests who come to spend time there and spend money and whatnot, or are frequent customers, or are friends with the staff and management. And then there are hallways that are strictly used for combination of overflow, and basically we're given the option to work in the new building but sleep in the old building, because the old building is, because it doesn't have any activity going on, it's basically empty, it's quieter. And management is aware that with everything going on in the new building, it can be pretty difficult for people to sleep. And then there are cases where sometimes management overbooks the amount of people working at a time, and there are not enough rooms in the new building for workers to both sleep and work, so workers have to share workrooms in the new building but sleep and get ready in the old building. And how that works on any conflict is we are given shifts, so there's day shift and night shift, so there's no worry about walking in on each other or whatnot. It's not like that. We're given shifts, so there's no conflict there. So I personally have spent quite a fair amount of time in the old building, between using the suites, staying in the rooms to sleep and get ready, between the times when it's been overbooked and I've had to share a workroom, or just when I tell management, hey, I need a quiet place to sleep, I don't want to sleep in my workroom. They're like, okay, cool, here's a key, go sleep in the old building, keep your stuff there. So I spend quite a fair amount of time in the old building. And because I generally work either a early day shift or a mid shift, where I am done by midnight at the latest, I am in that building a lot at night. And some pretty weird stuff happens in that building, especially at night. There's a lot of stories about what has happened in the building, especially when it was owned by the original owner, who wasn't as caring as the current owner. The only confirmed story of a death that happened there was there was an older customer with health problems who just so happened, series of unfortunate events and bad luck, just happened to have a heart attack in the middle of a party with a worker, and didn't make it out of the building before passing away. That is the only confirmed, factual, yes, it totally did happen story of a death that happened on that property. And that's because that happened after the current owner acquired it. But there's stories about things that happened when the previous owner owned it, the one who wasn't so kind and caring, and yeah. There's a story of a security guard who died while patrolling the property. There's multiple versions to the story as to how he died. One story is he had a medical condition and just died of a natural cause while on a break. There's another story where he got into an altercation with an unruly customer and died from the injuries. Whole bunch of stories, but the story is that the ghost of that security guard continues to roam the building, and his shtick is he is very protective of the workers. And then there's a story of a girl, a worker, who under the previous owner, back when it was just a brothel and a lockdown brothel at that, you can look up what that means on Google, but at that time it was very bleak. The rooms had no windows, the hallways were gated, the rooms were tiny, and yeah, when it comes to mental health, I can see how it wasn't ideal, especially given that being locked down, it meant that the workers couldn't really leave until their contracted time to be there was up. So basically, there's a story that a girl who worked there way back when lost her mind and ended her life. So, and there's actually the room it was rumored to happen in. No one uses. It's not a room people stay in. It is used for storage. Even though there is no actual confirmation that actually happened or not, it is just a rumor that is carried over to the current ownership and current management. But because of the superstition and stories of things that have happened in that room, no one touches it. They just use it to store stuff. So those are the ghosts that exist in that building. The customer who passed away from a heart attack, the security guard who supposedly died while on patrol, and the girl who felt trapped and ended her own life. So we have 3 ghosts, and I totally believe at least one of them exists. I totally believe this, because weird stuff happens in that building, especially at night. It's very eerie. For one thing, even in the dead of summer, or even dead of winter, when they actually turn the heat on full blast, there are random cold spots in the hallways, or there'll suddenly be a random flash of cold that goes through you and gives you the shivers. And it happens at random, as if something is just passing through you. I have been in a room knowing I was one of maybe 2 people in that particular hallway, and have heard footsteps in the hallway. And I would peek out the door to see if anyone was coming and not see anyone. And sometimes this would go on for a while. I hear like footsteps walking back and forth, as if someone was just patrolling the hallway. So, could it be the ghost of that security guard looking out for the ladies staying in that hallway? Who knows? Could be him. I have heard in the dead of night what sounds like a woman crying. At first I thought it was just someone in the same hallway as me watching TV. But I would, poke my head out and not hear anything. Or at least not hear anything that sounded like it was coming from a specific room. But then I would go back and do my thing, and I would hear the sound again. It would sound like someone weeping and crying. Very, very unsettling. Very creepy. I would have the lights on in the room I'm staying in, and they would flicker, which could be just the power being wonky, old building, old wires. But a couple of times, the lights would just suddenly shut off completely. And it would not be a power outage, because I would have my phone plugged in to charge, my laptop plugged in, charging, and the TV on and whatnot, and all of that would still be running. Like, I'd see my phone is still charging, my laptop is still charging, it's not on battery mode, and the TV is obviously still running. But the lights would just suddenly go off completely. And I'd have to go and jiggle the switches to turn them back on. I have heard just random knocks on the door. And I would go and check, and no one's there. And the key thing is, the only people who knock are the security guards. And they only knock if there's a problem. Because in the workrooms, we actually have a panic alarm in case of emergency. So if we hit the alarm, which sounds off in the office and on the radios that the staff wears, they'll come running and knock on the door and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" The rest of the staff, and what us workers are told to do, is kind of tap or scratch at the door, make soft sounds to indicate that it's non-emergency, just a, "Hey, can I come in and talk to you" kind of thing. Because they want to make sure that us workers know the difference between there being a problem, so, be alert and pay attention, and it just being a, "Hey, someone needs to come in and talk to you." Kind of a quirk about working there. So I'd hear knocking, and no one would be there at all. I'd have the TV on running, and sometimes I'd be watching TV and the TV would start flickering a lot, and sometimes just go to complete static, and the weather would be perfectly fine. I'm aware that it is satellite TV, but usually satellite TV does that if there's a lot of wind or a storm or just a lot of rain or just something that would disrupt the dish. And the weather to be crystal clear, perfectly fine. And the TV would start acting up. Sometimes I would randomly hear kind of weird old-timey music. And I know it's not someone else in my hallway, not another girl. Because usually when I hear another girl playing music, it's either like hip-hop or electronic music or rock. Modern music. But I'd hear a bit more like 60s, 70s music, and I'm like, the heck is that? And then I would like walk down the hallway and it would just suddenly stop. That's pretty strange. And again, the random cold spots. I would be walking through the building and have my phone out, and there'd be spots where suddenly my phone would just get no reception whatsoever. Then I'd take a few more steps and my phone resumes getting reception. That's pretty funky. Pretty funky. I don't know if that's just a quirk of the building and how it's constructed, especially when they added the additions to it, or if it's ghost activity messing with my phone. I would actually have my microphone and in my downtime take advantage of being in the quiet building to record my ASMR. And then I would go back and to edit and listen to the recording, only to realize I have to re-record all over again, because in the background I hear either strange whispering sounding noises or straight up very soft talking. And even though at the time I was recording, the only thing I heard was my own voice. And because my microphones are so sensitive, when I record, I can hear everything going on around me. Which is why sometimes when I'm doing my vlogs, I apologize for any ambient sounds, like when I record on garbage day, the trucks going by, or that time I recorded while my neighbor was having construction being done on their house, or when my air conditioner decides to kick on very noisily. Like I said, I have very sensitive microphones, so I can clearly hear when something's going on. But at the time of recording, I heard nothing. And didn't know anything was going on until I played the audio back. Very, very, very strange. And when that happens, it's actually kept me up at night and disturbed me. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that I have heard, as well as the cold spots. Some other weird things that have happened is I'd be sleeping and I would jolt awake because it'd feel like someone was tapping my back or tapping my shoulder, and I would wake up and no one's there. Because sometimes, I'll be frank, because my medication, my old medication especially, it made me extremely drowsy, and I'd oversleep and sleep through my alarms. And while in the newer building, there's a speaker system that attaches to the office, so they can actually, page us in our rooms and be like, "Hey, so-and-so, are you okay? It's, X time past when you're supposed to be on shift. What's going on?" That sort of thing. Well, because there's no one working in the offices of the old building, there's no speaker system. So, if I were oversleeping, running late, a member of the staff would have to physically walk over, knock on my door, call my phone, or straight up actually wake me up. That has happened before. But there have been instances where I have felt, tapping and even a little bit of jostling, and I would bolt awake and no one's there. And sometimes, while I'm asleep, I swear stuff in my room would move. I would have things laid out on my counter by my sink a certain way, a way that I find organized, and I'd go to sleep, and I'd wake up, and they'd be completely rearranged. I swear, this has happened at least twice. I don't know if it's another girl playing a prank on me, because for the most part we all get along. We're all friends. We sometimes mess with each other. Especially me and my friend Lena. We mess with each other. But I don't think anyone would just come in and rearrange stuff on my counter. Or I would set something down, and I would either go to sleep or head over to the new building to work my shift, and I would come back, and it would be in a completely different spot in the room. Completely different spot. Very, very, very strange. I would leave the curtains closed because I really don't like sunlight. And also, at night, they turn on these multicolored beacon lights that flash to draw attention to the buildings. And those can be seen through the windows, especially in the old building. So I keep the curtains closed so the lights don't bother me. And I would come in and find the curtains wide open. I'm just like, WTF. Or I would leave the room, make sure everything is shut off, lights shut off, TV shut off, clock radio shut off, everything is shut off. And I'd come back, and sometimes I'd find lights on, or the TV on, or the radio and the clock radio running. And it's very strange. And again, it could be, another girl just playing a prank. Or it could be some spooky activity. And yes, there are maids who clean. But in the new building, when we're working, they do come in and clean the rooms and make the beds every couple of days. But when you're staying in the old building, they don't touch your room until you leave. They leave them alone. Because they know you're not working there. The room doesn't have to be presentable. It's not like you're showing it to a customer where it has to be neat, clean, and tidy. It's just a room you are sleeping in and getting dressed in and showering in and whatnot. So the only time they touch it is after you pack up and leave, and they clean it up and prepare it for the next person who might stay in it. So the only time when you're there you really see the maids is when they're, vacuuming up the hallways, doing laundry for other rooms, or cleaning up the suites, that sort of thing. So I know it's not a maid coming in and disrupting things. And it's a pretty eerie building. Walking through the halls, sometimes I've seen weird shadows briefly, as if there was another person there, but I know it's just me. I've brushed it off as just being a trick of the dim lighting, but who knows? There could be something or someone else there. And I've heard stories from other girls too, who have stayed in rooms there of similar things happening to them, and things they've heard and seen, as well as customers who have stayed in the rooms used as hotel rooms, of just them hearing random noises and seeing random things. So the old building was built, I believe, either in the late 60s or early 70s. The original owner was very business oriented and neglectful of the building itself, the workers, the staff. He got into a lot of trouble, specifically tax issues, and part of why he's no longer the owner is he fled the country to avoid getting arrested for tax evasion. So, yeah, he wasn't exactly the best person. And like I said, before the new owner, or the current owner, acquired the building and made changes to it, the hallways were gated and very narrow. The rooms were very small with no windows. Very stifling. Very, very stifling. So when the current owner acquired it, he made expansions. Most of the rooms have windows. He made them bigger, especially with the new the renovations that happened over the last couple of years. They got even bigger. Initially, they were just bedrooms where you did have a bathroom. That had the toilet, bidet, and tub and shower. And then it was just a bed, a countertop, a chair, a nightstand with a lamp and a clock radio, and a TV and a small closet to shove your suitcase in. But because how the rooms were designed and laid out, the bathrooms were what they call Jack and Jill bathrooms. Basically meant 2 bedrooms shared 1 bathroom. Where back when that was a functional building and people actually worked in the building, the girls who worked there, 2 girls would have their bedroom / workrooms and share a bathroom. But when they stopped using that building as a work building, they generally kept it so when people would sleep in those rooms, no one would share a bathroom. They would alternate rooms. Basically, it'd be like, okay, someone's sleeping in this room, so the room attached to the other side of the bathroom, we're not going to put anyone in, if that makes sense. Well, with the renovation that just happened, they, for each of the rooms, they turned one of the rooms on one side of the Jack and Jill bathroom. Instead of being on their bedroom, they turned it into a sitting room with a couch and another TV, and they put in a dresser and another countertop. And so basically they just expanded the room. So you have like a sleeping area and then a sitting area, which just gives you more space to lay out your stuff and get ready and whatnot. And when they did the renovations, they actually did them with the plans of both buildings operating simultaneously. So I figured the intent was to make the rooms in that building more presentable and more comfortable, more appealing, not just to the people who work there, but also to the customers, to have more options as to what they do. You could spend time in the bedroom area, or you could hang out in the sitting area. But so far, that only lasted a couple of months. So it's interesting. The history of that building is very interesting. Another fun fact, how they relocated that old building from its previous location was actually via helicopter. It made the local news. The current owner helicoptered that building from its previous location, which was several exits down the highway, to the current location, and just like set up the foundation and then added the expansions and everything. So that's pretty cool. And then he of course then added the second building, the newer building that we now primarily work out of, the bonus suites, the office buildings, and all that jazz. So yeah, it's a little bit about that. We call the old building OMR, or the original Mustang Ranch. Back when both buildings operated simultaneously, OMR was called Mustang Ranch, and the new building was called Wild Horse. Now the whole property is called Mustang Ranch. So even the new building is called Mustang Ranch, but the bar and restaurant in the new building is called the Wild Horse Saloon. So they still kept that name, but they moved it to just being what they call the bar. And then another fun fact is the separate special suites, which are freaking huge and not attached to either building. They're called the Conforti Suites, and they're named after the original owner, whose name was Joe Conforti. Bit of an homage to him. There are several homages to him throughout the property. Several of the suites are decorated based on what his tastes were. He was a man of opulence. So, despite his not so positive reputation, because he was the original owner, and he actually did make strides for the industry way back in the day. There are homages and respects paid to him. And the current owner, he's pretty cool. Takes good care of everybody, takes good care of the workers, takes good care of the staff, takes good care of the customers. He's a cool guy. I think hence why nothing bad I've ever heard has happened in the new building. So yeah, that's a little bit about where I work. And in the spirit of October and Halloween, some weird spooky activity that has occurred in in an almost 50-year-old building that way back when wasn't in the best of shape. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Once again, thank you for watching / listening. If you've made it this far and you've had your own experiences with weird, spooky activity, do share your stories in the comments down below, because I'm always fascinated by ghost stories. They really fascinate me. And who knows, maybe as part of Halloween, I will read them in a whisper in a future video for some ASMR tingles. So share your stories in the comments down below. And again, I have some Halloween merch featuring Ruby and Jade, which you can get either via Teespring or Redbubble. You can support my current health crisis via getting a commission or donating to either my Ko-fi or Buy Me a Coffee. Or if you straight up want bonus content and whatnot, you can support me on Patreon. And if you are new here and you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you like my content, be sure to click subscribe. If this is the first video of mine you've ever watched or listened to, I actually do a lot of ASMR roleplays, so if that's your cup of tea, definitely check out my channel and subscribe. I will be going back to roleplaying as soon as I'm feeling better. Just bear with me. And thank you all so much for your love and support, as well as your patience and understanding while I'm dealing with stuff. I love you all. Remember to stay awesome. Mwah. Mwah. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye bye. Mwah.